And speaking of far from even and far from sane and logical, so Darby Allin was on the show in a videotape with the skateboarder fellow. What's the skateboarder's name?
Tony Hawk. He's a legendary skateboarder, maybe the greatest of all time. Also someone who Cast Media owes money to.
Well, I sympathize with him on that. As far as being the greatest skateboarder of all time, in my opinion, that's, again, like being the nicest guy in prison. It's a apt simile there because here's the thing, what they're doing is they're raising money for a good cause, allegedly. I'm not saying allegedly raising money. I'm saying it's allegedly a good cause. Darby apparently was going to climb Mount Everest to try to raise money for this fucking skateboarder fellow, old Rip Hawk there.
Tony Hawk, he's very famous.
Okay, well, I give a shit about a fucking skateboarder as a person getting in the way of the general population as they make their way about the sidewalks and byways of America.
What do you have
attempting to fucking break their goddamn own neck when there's no fucking reason whatsoever.
Any of those great movies that you remember with skateboarding, like Gleaming the Cube and the Police
Gleaming the Cube?
It's a good movie from the late 80s. Any of those movies, him and his friends were the ones doing these stunts and sometimes appearing in those movies.
I was in my mid to late 20s in the late 80s, and I wasn't looking at movies about skateboarding. And when I was a young man, most people had enough sense to goddamn not get on a skateboard and attempt to break all their bones. They were on some roller skates, and they broke a lot of bones.
There's like 30 people screaming because I mentioned Gleaming the Cube.
Well, if you gleam the cube, you'll get a lot of people to scream. That's fucking sensitive down there. But anyway, Darby's with the skateboarding guy, and he can't climb Mount Everest because he broke his foot, so they're raising money for skate parks for these needy children, and they had footage of the kids in the skate park. But here's the thing. Again, Darby Allin, maybe wonderful sentiment, but isn't this somewhat misplaced? I would not think anything different from this knucklehead. Give your money and give your time and raise money not to feed needy children, but to encourage them to break their bones while they live in a country with no health care. So you'll wind up sleeping in your car homeless like Darby Allin used to be because you fucked yourself up and you can't pay a doctor bill.
Well, to be fair, I think Darby was more homeless by choice.
Well, even another reason why I suspect his fucking decision-making capabilities. Anyway, I'm not up for spending money on building the skate parks for the needy kids, but if we do feed them from time to time, I help out with that. So if somebody comes up with something where they're feeding some children, instead of encouraging them to fling themselves on concrete, get back with me.